Today I'm putting new tires on my CRF300L Rally, and this is perhaps the most famous tire combination in all of dual sporting. All right, these are my new tires. And if you watched my previous tire video, you'll know that the tires I went with are on the back, a Dunlop D606, and on the front, a Pirelli MT21. And I just want to show you the difference. I mean, obviously my stock tires are pretty worn down at this point. Could probably milk another 1,000 miles out of them if I really wanted to. But you can really see the difference in tread. These should be a lot of fun in the dirt. I've used these before on my XT250 and XT225, and they are a lot of fun in the dirt. A little bit louder than stock on the road, but I'm okay with that, especially since I wear earplugs when I ride. So this is the worn out stock IRC. This is the brand new Dunlop D606. And then we come up front, and here you have the not quite as worn out. Front tires never wear out quite as quickly as the rear tires, but this is the IRC, and this is the Pirelli MT21. And again, you can really see the difference in the tread depth. This is going to cut into dirt a lot more effectively. But I wanted to make a video today as I put these on, just to show how these tires, which are very famous in the dual sporting world, change the CRF300L Rally. Because, as I mentioned in my other video, the sizing is not exactly the same. The stock rear tire is 120/80, which means it's 120 millimeters wide, and the height is 80% of 120 millimeters, which is 96, I believe, millimeters. And the closest size they make in the Dunlop D606 is 120/90. So it is still 120 millimeters wide, but the height of the sidewall is 90% instead of 80% of 120 millimeters. So that puts it at 108 millimeters high versus, what did I say, 96 millimeters high. So this one is a little bit taller than this one, and the difference will probably be exacerbated a little bit because of how worn the tread is on the stock IRCs. Now on the front, the sizing on the MT21 is a lot closer to stock. It is 90/90, so it's 90 millimeters wide and 90% of 90 millimeters tall. So that puts this at 81 millimeters tall, whereas the stock is 80/100. So it's 80 millimeters wide, and the sidewall is 100% of 80 millimeters. So it's 80 and 80. Now, just anecdotally looking at them side by side, this MT21 seems quite a bit taller than the IRC. But of course, the sizing changes a little bit when you actually get it mounted on the rim. So we'll see what happens when it's on. So a couple things I'm going to do. First of all, I'm going to measure the seat height with the stock worn down tires. I just picked what seemed to be the lowest spot on the seat, made a mark on it, so I'm in the same spot. I'm going to stand it up so it's level and measure where the seat height is before the tire swap and after. And then, weather and light permitting, I'm going to take the bike for a little spin with the new tires mounted so I can get kind of just an anecdotal feel for the difference. I expect it to be a little bit louder. And I've heard that there's a noticeable decrease in torque because of the bigger rear tire. We'll see if I can tell the difference. Some people who use this combination go up a couple teeth on the rear sprocket to compensate for the loss of torque. But we'll see. We'll see if it's noticeable to me. I don't know if I'll do that or not yet. I will certainly let you know. I'm not going to do a video about me actually installing the tires. There's a million videos on YouTube about installing tires. so I don't want to reinvent the wheel, no pun intended. I will put a link in the description for the video that helped me learn how to change tires, and I've done it several times since watching this video. So hopefully that'll be helpful to anybody who has never done this and wants to learn. And I will be back. All right, well, I was hoping the next thing you'd see in this video would be my new tires on my bike, but it has just been a disaster. I started with the rear tire, the D606 Dunlop, and that is just the stiffest tire in the world, so getting it onto the rim was an absolute nightmare. I don't remember it being this hard. Maybe it's just because it's winter. I did turn on my heater in the garage, my propane heater, but anyway, it was just a pain to get on. When I finally did get it on, I went to fill it up. Turns out I pinched the tube, so there was a hole in it. So that just defeated me. I put everything away for the night. It's the next day now, and took the tire off, which was another pain in the butt, getting the fresh new Dunlop tire off the rim again. Doing that, I actually broke the tire. Who knew you could do that? And let me show you what happened. So as I was prying the tire back off of the rim so I could replace the tube, I just didn't have the right kind of bite on the bead here with my spoon. And I was prying and I heard the snap, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well, but the cable actually broke. And I don't know, maybe I could just snip that wire off so it's not scratching up my rim, and it would be okay since these are tubed tires, but I didn't want to risk it. If anybody knows if that's okay, let me know in the comments. But I decided to just buy a new tire. So I have a new tire, new tube, and this time I'm going to use this handy dandy tool that I just bought, which is the Baja no pinch tool. This is supposed to make life a lot easier with getting stiff tires onto rims. And so we'll give that a try, and hopefully now the next thing you'll see is success. All right, I finally got these stupid tires mounted, and I just cannot express strongly enough how much of a gigantic pain in the butt that was. So hard, especially this rear Dunlop D606. Just the stiffest tire in the world. And I did all the things. I heated it up with a heat gun for a while. I put some dish soap on it with water. All the same things I did when I mounted this same tire to my XT250 and my XT225. But this was just way, way harder. And I think I figured out why. I measured this lip here. So obviously the wheel on both my CRF and my XTs is 18 inches. But this lip here on the XT is 5/8 of an inch. And on the CRF, it is 3/4 of an inch. So that 1/8 of an inch on this lip adds 1/4 inch to the diameter of the wheel. And that's a huge difference when you're talking about this super, super stiff tire. And honestly, the front tire was no walk in the park either. It was a lot harder than the other front tires that I've done. Probably for the same reason, a bigger lip. But I will say, for me, if I ever use these particular tires again on this particular bike, I will be taking them in to a dealer and having them mounted professionally. But it is not something I would want to repeat if I can help it. And with these tires, there's just no way that I can imagine doing any sort of roadside repairs to my tires. You pros out there could probably do it in an instant, and probably, after they're mounted for a while and you're riding in the heat, it might not be so bad popping the bead off so you could get in and replace a tube, but I wouldn't even try it. If I blow a tire with this setup, it's going to be a phone call to my wife to come to the rescue with her Jeep. And one quick note about this Baja no pinch stretching tool. It is a cool tool, but this blue axle that comes with the standard kit, this is a 20 millimeter axle, and it is too big. At least it's too big for the back. I didn't check the front. I imagine they're the same size. So, I have this tire changing stand, and I was able to clamp this tool just onto the axle of the stand, and it worked okay. It would definitely be better to get the right size of axle that goes with this Baja tool. And so I ordered one of those. I ordered the 17 millimeter, which is the goldish yellow color. So if you are looking at this tool for your CRF300L or Rally, get the yellow axle, which is 17 millimeters, not the 20. It's a little too big. And as for the seat height difference with these tires on, that's one of the main things I wanted to measure. With the worn down IRC stock tires, the seat height at the lowest point was 34 3/8 inches high. And with these new tires at the exact same point, I had a little piece of tape on to measure. With the new tires, it's 34 7/8 inch at the lowest point. So it raised it exactly half an inch with this setup. So if you've got short legs like me and you're paying attention to every millimeter of height or inch of height, just know that you're going to have an additional half inch if you go with this Dunlop D606 and Pirelli MT21. And with the bigger tire, some people have said that they've noticed a loss in torque. So I'm not going to be able to go out on trails today. It's still icy and snowy outside, but I will go out on the street and just see if I can get kind of a feel for how it rides and sounds and all that kind of stuff. All right, so clearly I am not out on my bike right now. I actually did take my bike out and had a great time, but turns out the mic wasn't hooked up right, so I didn't get any audio. So rather than trying to, recapture all that, I figured I'd just come back and talk about my experience. So the first thing, that half-inch gain in seat height, it was noticeable, but it wasn't horrible for me. Not a deal breaker by any means, but it is noticeable. So if that's a concern for you, you might want to look at tire options that are exactly stock in size. The second thing, the very positive thing I noticed, I couldn't tell any increase in road noise from these tires. I even left my earplugs out just so I could hear it better. And, I didn't go super fast. I got up to maybe 60 miles an hour, but they felt smooth. They felt grippy on the turns. A lot better on the street than I was expecting. I was expecting to have to, sacrifice some road performance in favor of the increased dirt capabilities because of the knobbier tires, but that wasn't the case. They felt great to me, and I couldn't detect any decrease in torque in the lower speeds, and that may change in the spring when the snow melts and I can actually get out in the dirt and try some slower, steep hill climbs and things like that where you really need that low end torque. But we'll see. It was nice on the road. I didn't notice any difference in torque, and I did hit a section of ice, snow type of thing that was similar to where I was riding a couple weeks ago when I took a couple spills on the ice because I just had no traction at all. And I felt a lot more grippy there. I didn't have any problems staying up on two wheels. So all in all, I think I'm going to be really happy with these tires. Really the only negative thing that I can say about them, and it is kind of a big negative for me, is how hard they are for me to install. Like I said earlier, if I really like this combination on the CRF and I want to keep using it going forward, I think I will have a professional install the tires for me, and I will just give up any dreams of being able to do trail side maintenance on my tires. If they blow, I'm just going to have to call for help. So because of that, I may look at some different tires next time around. Something that's made out of slightly softer rubber so I can stretch them over the rims a little bit easier. Or maybe there's a trick that I'm just still missing that will make it more plausible for me to work on these on the trail and even in my garage. Anyway, I hope this information has been helpful to somebody out there. I appreciate you watching my videos. Subscribe to my channel if you feel like it, and ride safe.